if you guys can wave at everybody so they're clear on who you are. Luann and Paul are our judges tonight. Welcome, by the way, and it's good to see everybody. Born and raised in Minnesota, Luann Thatcher has spent her retirement years behind a camera. Her broad interest in the medium includes all genres, with a particular focus now on still life, macro, and minimalistic monochrome photography. She is a member and competition judge for the Photographic Society of America, through which she is an instructor for the newly revised image evaluation course. She lives in the Twin Cities area, where she now dedicates her life's work to her passion for photography. She published her first photography zine, Spring, Summer, Fall in 2020. Her website is www.luannthatcherphotography.com. I will put that into the chat, so if you guys want to look at that, you can. And then Paul Schwartz recently retired as a college professor of chemistry from Genesee Community College. Prior to that, Paul worked for nearly 30 years in research and development at Eastman Kodak in Rochester, New York. He's been involved in photography about 50 years. He's been involved in Kodak Camera Club and participated in many PSA and international salons. Still an avid nature photography enthusiast, he was born and raised in Schenectady. He graduated from Linton High School and someday may soon return for his, do you really want me to tell them this part?
It's only true.
50th high school reunion. So when I saw that, I did the math to see how far out I am, and I'm at 42. So, Luann, what is a zine?
Zine, photo zine.
Zine.
Yep, it's a half book, 5 by 7. It's like an 8.5 sheet of paper folded in half. It's about that size, and it's what a lot of the street photographers are making. They're inexpensive. It's my first book, and it was something that I could have printed in the UK and then just pass out to whoever I knew to show them what kind of photographer I was.
Nice. I've never heard of one.
We call it a photo zine. Yeah, instead of a
Photo
photo book,
zine.
it was a photo zine.
Okay. All right. Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Well, welcome you guys. I'm really glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, welcome to our judges. We have 2 competitions tonight, as you know, the Sign Topics 1 and the Sign Topics 2 categories. These are images that were submitted by members over the last 7 months. They may or may not have been winning images from these previous competitions, and that's what all images get a second chance. So there is 1 winner and there are 4 honorable mentions. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. The order is these are all the first image you see are all images that did not place, followed by the honorable mentions, and then followed by the winning image. First up, Pontiac dashboard, Alan Wiggins. So, Paul or Luann, would you?
Yeah, this was to me a very striking image, and it fit with the category of round things. So many round things. The red or the shininess of it too caught my eye. Just a couple things that detracted a bit for me was the big fuzzy dice, not round, and somewhat of a distraction. Maybe could be cropped out, or I don't know if it's your Pontiac, maybe move them. But it was a striking image. I liked it, and it didn't rise to the top of this group, but nonetheless, well done.
Okay. Next up, the paper mill, Alan Wiggins.
Paper mill.
Yeah.
Okay, on this one, I have, there's industrial elements, interesting motion in the smoke, rich color, overall and a sharp focus. To me, the smoke looks smudgy on the right side and not natural. Factory lights are a little bright with loss of detail in the smoke area above the large starburst light on the right.
Okay. Next up is Schoharie Gravel Pit, Barb Lawton.
Are we just kind of alternating on the
Yeah.
comments then?
Yeah. that
Yeah,
That
was-
sounds good.
Yeah, this had the aspects of industrial. I see the flow essentially from the pattern of the piping and all, and then that big heap of gravel at the base. It had a little bit of a static look to it. It just be nice if there was some work going on. There was a few others with people walking through them or within them, but this is well set up, well designed, well photographed.
Okay, next up is The Tree Ate the House, Barb Lawton.
Abandoned, okay. Just give me a second. Tree Ate the House. It's an interesting building. There's natural colors, subjects in sharp focus, organic and geometric shapes, and textures colliding together. I find the bright sunlight is distracting. The subject doesn't hold my attention for an impact element.
Okay, next up is Picnic Silhouette, Claudia Jakubowski.
Yes, this one jumped out at me. It had the main subject elements well framed and positioned. The hands, my attention gets drawn to the hand of the person with a baseball hat. Somehow or another, I guess it's those bright spots between the wrist and the thumb or wherever that is. The water bottle sitting right in the middle makes me wonder. This photograph brings up questions with me. What are they talking about? Whose water bottle is this? So that there's a story in there that's not explicit and not particularly clear. So the mysterious looking photo fits the silhouette subject very well. And yeah, I was drawn to it just by the composition.
Okay, next up is Rainy Day Tree, Through the Window, Claudia Jakubowski.
Rainy day tree through the window. The image has impact with originality and creative editing. The colors are muted and consistent. The subject is clear. Implied rain on this screen has interest and holds my attention, which is good. Composition is well placed in the frame. The image has balance. Light is good and contained to the top of the frame. There's a clever story and the image fits the category. I really like this one for the creativity. It's really impressed me.
Next up is Banes of the Operation, Dan Steen.
Yeah, this one brought into the industrial category, but I didn't see it as so much of an industrial type of a process or whatever. It's I see the pathways and the circuits and the current I'm envisioning, but to me it didn't really fit the industrial category, even though it's probably made in a billion-dollar factory of some sort. But it had good balance, good composition. The one, I guess I'm going to call it a capacitor, but the one circular piece at the very top of the image, top center, kind of takes me away from the rest of the well-placed elements.
Okay, next up is Dreaming by the Fire, Dan Steen.
Fire. Just a second. Fire, fire. I didn't order mine correctly. I should have asked you how you were going to show these. Hold on. patient with me. Dreaming by the fire. The fire is well captured with light and varying intensities. There's a cave-like feeling with the textured walls that I really like. The flame is mesmerizing and organic elements. There's a distraction in the shadow in the upper right corner. Actually, it's the upper left corner that is pulling my eye away from the subject. It could be that that corner could be darkened a little bit to keep my eye focused on the flames in the center.
Okay. Next up is headlamp, 1947 Jaguar MK4 Coupe, Dow Smith.
Yes, for this one, it just seemed a little tight, a little tightly framed, especially for the lower round object there, the lower headlamp. I get a sense of big brother, little brother, or something along those lines from the fancy yellow shirt of the upper larger headlight and the murky white t-shirt of the younger brother there. So it speaks to me. I liked it. I liked the reflection in the black metal of the car itself, and just seemed a little bit compressed or a little bit tight for best balance in my view.
Okay. Next is a special treat, Alina Kesey.
Round things. It's a pretty little still life, simplistic with 3 elements, lovely pattern on the plate, good diagonal placement of the spoon. The warm color palette feels weak to me. The cherry is not in focus. There's red speckles on the spoon handle and they come across as distracting, as is the reflection in the bowl. This image does fit the category. I think the reflection in the bowl could be overcome by just adjusting the lighting.
Next up is Along the Hudson, Janice Pritchett.
Yes, this one, at first I'm really drawn to that big derrick structure, whatever that industrial ironwork is there on the left side. But then the more I look at it, I'm drawn into the sky, a beautiful sky with interesting clouds and color. And then I get off the edge of the right edge, right in the water, and I see the boat full of people maybe. So a lot of action going on in this photo. The main wharf or pier or whatever the proper name for the pile of logs that are in there for unloading boats, I imagine. The boat that's in the picture doesn't look like it's got anything to do with the rest of it, but overall, very pleasing composition. And I didn't mind the building on the left. That just says we're right near the city as well. But the sky is wonderful. That's really what makes it, and the lighting on the main structure as well is well done.
Next up is Rock Harbor Sunset, Janice Pritchett.
Rock Harbor Sunset. It's a pretty sunset with violet tones complementing the blue sky. The wetland area adds foreground interest. The image feels balanced asymmetrically. There's a nice diagonal sunbeam draws my eye to the clouds. Good eye movement in the image. A wading bird in the water as a silhouette would have been a bonus for interest. The only round thing in this image is the sun, so I question it fitting the subject or the category.
And before you move on, very similar comments, but then somewhere along the way when I was previewing these images, this one was round in that the earth is round, but it has a straight flat horizon. The sun is round, but it's 93 million miles away. So it brought a new meaning to round for me, reflecting on the image from outer space of the round Earth, our island home here, but yet the flat horizon.
All right, next up is Cozy Abode on a Misty Day. Jana Kaywood.
Rainy day. Or cozy abode. Cozy abode on a misty day. I love the mood of this image with the dark tones. The subject placed well on left, lots of geometric lines on the barn and organic shapes in the trees and the grass area. Good focus, the image fits the category. Unfortunately, on my computer, the sky shows signs of chromatic aberration and pixelation. Now, I don't know if anyone else can see that on their monitor, but I looked at this in different light. My monitor is calibrated, but I just have some concern about that sky. The foreground and the barn are beautiful.
Okay. And yes, I see the pixelation on my computer. That's what it being presented. So next up is Gnarled Fingertips Reach to the Rainy Skies. Jana Kaywood.
Yes, this is another of the rainy day images. To me, it's just a bit bright, and the foreground tree has got all the interesting structure and growth patterns, dendritic patterns and all. I guess I'm a bit bothered by what I believe is the telephone pole right there on the right side of the image. In that, though it's raining, that just kind of doesn't seem to fit as well. But overall, I thought a bit too bright. I get lost in the whiteness a bit. But it's a lovely tree, no doubt about it. And I'm sure those driving that road will have had their windshield wipers on.
Can I make an additional comment, please?
Sure.
In my comment, I would like to add, because there's no obvious color, considers converting this to a black and white. And possibly, I highly recommend trying a high key type of black and white. Because of the bright light, you can utilize the bright light and the darkness of the trees and make a beautiful high key image out of this. Just as a suggestion.
Okay. Next up is Porto Madero Buenos Aires, Joan Heffler.
Industrial, Buenos Aires. All right. The feeling of this photo is calm and quiet, an afternoon cityscape. It's made up of geometric lines, shapes, glass and steel, neighboring an industrial silo on the left and a modern style bridge in the foreground. The light is diffused with some shadows on the buildings. The overall cool tones meld the city along with the waterway. The photo has good focus throughout, and the point of view gives the image depth. The challenge I find is with the buildings, they are leaning and the uneven light is distracting. Also, nothing stands out as a subject where I can rest my eye when viewing the scene.
Okay, next up is Rainy Day in Ireland, Joan Heffler.
Oh, yes. When I first saw this, it looked like it had been watercolored or something. When I think Ireland, I think green, and then all this other vivid color is presented. So I guess I probably should look at the image and not so much the title, but I liked all of the blocky, different colored houses and then the rooftops and so on. I see the church bell over there as kind of a center of interest amid the rest of it. I do see, I guess this is based on the last image of the bridge and the buildings. It might be tilted 2 degrees or so to the left, and that could be adjusted a bit to square it up, to frame it a little bit better, but it's beautiful color. I'm not sure what's going on with the sky. It almost looks chalked or treated in some way, but I don't find it distracting in any way. there's a few of the lamp posts and antennas and so on that are minor distractions in this image, but basically the color just jumps with all the different layers of the buildings here in the cityscape.
Okay, next up is Father Thinking of His Children, Joe Cotroneo.
Okay. Father Thinking of His Children. This mask fits the category, and the mask itself is beautiful with rich wood tones and carvings. The composition is centered, and the background has a rich, warm tone that complements the mask itself. The overall light illuminates the mask well.
Next up is Fire in Water Refraction, Joe Cotroneo.
Let's see, fire here. Yeah, this was a creative, must be composite image of some sort, maybe a dandelion candle holder of some type. It shows the candle well. I'm not sure what the stem and smaller stems are contributing to the fire, but the one thing that I see that seems to be missing is in back of the flame on the image. There's no of the dandelion fronds or whatever those spikes are. That they've been burned away or something is what I'm kind of imagining. And then the just the circuit. It seems like it was just a circular plunk this here montage of some sort. But it's interesting. I like the warm colors, and I like the creativity of it. It was a unique and took some close looking to bring me through the entire image. Very creative.
Okay, next up is Three Eggs, Kim Koza.
3 eggs. I love this high key 3 eggs in a nest ensemble. I see this photo as a perfect way to capture a scene artistically. The organic subject has warm color tone. The twigs, berries, and eggs are well placed in this still life composition. My comment is, I feel the bright background is a bit bright. I recommend adjusting the luminosity so that the white levels don't exceed 253. Usually blacks start at 0 and the luminosity of white goes up to 255. So I'd say try to learn how to control the level of your white luminosity. Because this is a high key image, that's one of the concerns for getting the colors and light right. For brightness in the post-processing, I do notice bright areas on top of the 2 eggs, which I recommend you can adjust by lowering the highlights a bit on just those 2 eggs on top. And I do find that the image fits the category.
Okay, next up is David, Kim Koza.
Yeah, this is another mystery picture to me. The rain is very evident. I see the streaking droplets coming from the clouds and the shoreline, the waves and the gravel. It's muted colors, which is about what you can expect during the rain days. I wonder too if he's walking to the car, wanting to get out of the rain, or fearless. I'm going to walk my mile up and down the beach because I want to, rain or shine. So it had a lot of good elements. I like the positioning of the individual, the subject, and I thought this was well done. Looks cold too, as well as rainy.
Okay, next up is It's That Way, Linda Tomasula.
Silhouette, number 3. The story of this silhouette made me chuckle. I like the action of the man pointing to the foreground. The silhouettes are nice. They show arms and limb separation of the three people. I can easily see their forward motion and their footfall. Black and white is perfect format choice for this subject because it leaves the essence of what the photographer saw before taking the photo. I am okay with the soft vignette. I attribute it to the creativity of the photographer.
Okay, next up is silhouettes of elk on a ridge in Yellowstone, Nancy Jones.
Yes, this silhouette shot, I like the going left to right, the I guess they're bugling or making their sound. So I see the open mouths of elk 1 and elk 3 and elk 5. Elk 2 and elk 4 are looking straight towards the camera, and good separation of 3 of the 4 elks in the silhouette. The double-headed guy, elk 2, 3, that presents a little bit of a compositional query or whatever. It's not a showstopper. I like that. And the little white patch just to the left of elk 1's forefoot is a little bit troublesome too. That could be touched out or whatever. But it was an interesting nature picture, and I was drawn to it. And I guess you can't do much about asking the elk to pose differently when you're at a spot like that. But it was a good photograph and well done silhouette.
Okay, next up is That's Nice, Neil Shapiro.
Round things, that's nice. The round straws make a very creative and original abstract photograph. The warm colors add vibrance and the lines draw my eye into the image towards the light. Circles and lines consume the photo and I find the composition pleasing. I do find the specks in the straws to be distracting. Post-processing can clean them up. This image does fit the category.
Okay, next up is Miklo's Antiques, Phil Olivo.
Yes, this was one of the abandoned buildings from that category. So let's see. I kind of wonder what's inside with the boarded up front door and front windows, and then the shades and blinds on the side window. The mailbox adds more mystery to the image as well. I like the sky, I like the exposure, I like the framing. The story here is about what's inside, and that's left to the imagination of the viewer, I guess. But it was a good find as an abandoned building.
Okay, next up is Spring, Phil Olivo.
Industrial spring. The spring appears heavy duty and industrial. The shiny chrome has a reflection that I find interesting. The black and white format works well, and the subject is composed in a diagonal and pleasing fashion.
Okay, next up is Industrial Hoodie, Rich Schreibstein.
Yes, this one, I like the first thing I was drawn to is the color contrast, the red I-beams, the green I-beams, the red, I don't know if they're pumps or what, the big objects on the base of the floor. The industrial aspect of it is shown. I like the colors, and I like how the angles of the I-beams are framing the subject. The person with the hoodie sweatshirt with the red jacket wandering through seems out of place to me. Doesn't seem like an industrial worker of sorts. Seems like a visitor of some sort. So there's a mystery in that regard. And he's kind of red on red right at the point where the main I-beam upright is positioned. So again, he's not an elk, but and he's not really posing. This is a good catch of a kind of street type photograph in an industrial setting. So all in all, I think the colors really are the main draw of this image for me.
Okay, next up is Rain Warp. Rich Stragstein.
Rain warp. I love the creativity in this rain warp photo. It is original and tells the story of a moody, dark day. The colors are simple, warm white building and sky with possible paved area in the foreground. I love the mystery within the scene.
Next up is Overtaken by Nature, Robert Neer.
Yes, this one is another of the abandoned buildings, another good find. I like the nature aspects of it. Nature wins, right? And this building isn't long for until it's totally fallen down or whatever. It's apparently private property and no trespassing, the signage on it. The one suggestion I would have is the left side hot, bright sky could be, I don't know, adjusted in some way or perhaps even cropped a bit to keep the focus on the main door and house of the building. So all in all, I like this one. It just reminds me nature wins when given enough time.
Okay, next up is Broken Window, Ronald Spear.
Broken window. My interest in abandoned buildings stirs up interest in this photo. There is mystery in wondering what is in that dark space behind the glass. The weathered window frame and torn screen are visual elements that tell the story of an old building or home. The red curtain is classic to a vintage story, and the photo has sharp focus and the colors are authentic.
Next up is Fire Breather, Sean Sullivan.
Oh, this one, high impact visual here, lots going on. The fire is the main event, and I can see the mist or the vapor coming from his breath as he's blowing onto those torches, and quite a performance. The backdrop, the purpley drape, and then the other colors involved in the curtain behind him, and then the plaid kilt and all, those would normally be, I don't know, a little bit of a distraction, but this image is so powerful. So right there with the fire breathing performer that they don't distract enough to bother with. I wonder how high the ceiling is. I see the chandelier hanging. I see the fire reaching above the chandelier already. So there's that element of, am I going to get out of here alive? But the photographer was careful, I suspect.
It was outdoors.
Okay, very good. Well
Next
done.
up is Giraffe God Mask, Sean Sullivan.
Mask. Giraffe God mask. At first glance, this mask looks as if it has a Rembrandt lighting. Half of the face in light, the other half in shadow. Interesting mask carved of wood, it appears. The horizontal lines on the board in back complement the organic circles and spots on the draft space.
Next up is Splash, Sharon Silversmith.
Yes, this one was part of the round one. So you see the round droplets, several of them coming from the sky. When they land, they transfer their energy into the ringed droplets, another flat but round thing. So it just looked like a good transfer of energy. It's almost like there's a flow here from back left to front right, diagonal framing or whatever of the splashes. A lot of action here, a lot of circles overlapping. The main one must have had some help from a rock or something, because that big one and that big splash in the center doesn't look like it's from a droplet. But nonetheless, it's a great image illustrating the energy and the motion of the substance water.
Okay, next up is 2 Degrees of Stacks, Thomas Whitmore.
Industrial, 2 degrees of stacks. Oh, there we go. I really like this image. I gave it a big wow when I first saw it. The plumes of vapor look quite massive and ominous to me. The building below is pale in comparison to the size of the cloud, so I like the story. The structure is balanced and well placed in the lower part of the frame. I like how the clouds and building make an interesting juxtaposition. The cool tones complete the industrial setting.
Okay, next up is Barnwood, Thomas Whitmore.
Okay, this is another abandoned building, not quite as rough shape as some of the other contributions to this category. I like the contrast of the natural wood in the barn and then the real natural wood of the trees and the shrubs in the background. It seems a little bright to me throughout, especially the roof there. I guess it's a metal roof, and the reflectivity of that may just present a challenge for photographing it directly. But all in all, another good abandoned barn find, and there must be some number of them available around Schenectady area.
Okay, honorable mentions. First up, A Flame with a Flare, Alina Kesey.
Fire. Flame with a flare. Create a flame with originality centered in frame. It's organic lines, curves juxtapose the open flame below. Warm colors varying in hues, pleasing composition. I find it very interesting. I just really like the sparks above, and I think it's creative and unusual.
Yeah, I found it actually a bit musical with the sparks, the long ones going up to the higher tones, and then the ones off to the right, the shorter ones, giving a little different aspect to it. But yeah, very interesting. Don't know if it's I'm curious about the source of the flame. It doesn't look like it's a candle or 3 candles, but it's interesting how the continuous flame from the lower portion transforms into the sparkiness of the upper portion. So there's something happening in this one energetically as well.
Okay, next honorable mention is Princess Mask for a Princess, Linda Tomasillo.
Princess mask. This is a very pretty photo of a princess with her mask, and her favorite doll's photo must be on the front. I think that's Frozen. She's also sporting a cheerful Pikachu shirt, so the story being told is very uplifting. The image is sharp and her eyes are so awesome, they draw me right into the photo. The only comment I have is to offer is I wish she would have been looking towards the camera, especially because she is a child. Her eyes toward the camera confirms that the subject knows that you're looking at them and holds the viewer's attention more. Otherwise, eyes to the side can sometimes bring tension to a photo as they imply the viewer doesn't have permission to look into the child's space. Just thoughts to consider.
Okay. Next up, honorable mention is Forgotten Waterfront, Robert Neer.
Yes, this one of the abandoned fishing shacks there was high impact. That one in the on the right with the blue in the window frame there is right on the verge of falling in. Its posts or whatever that held it up are long gone. So this is abandoned to a high degree. And I love the reflection of both of the main buildings in the image in the water. I like the boardwalk railing and so on in the back. Yeah, this one was rose to the top of the abandoned buildings categories just for that tension of the tilted building soon entering the water even more than it is now. So this was a great find.
Okay, and our last honorable mention is Travel Portal, Sharon Silversmith.
I really like this image. The round travel portal shows originality, creativity, and I find it interesting. Lots of geometric shapes and lines in the brick, along with the parking ramp across the way. The ramp is level in the window, and together the image tells a fun story. The warm tones in the brick advance towards my eye, while the cool concrete tones recede into the background, giving the view depth and dimension. The image fits the category for round things, definitely.
Okay, and our winning image. Drum roll. Forecasting.
Both comment on this?
photography.
Can we both comment on this one?
Oh, yes,
Thank you.
Neil Shapiro.
Yes, this one, the rainy day subject. I love the clouds, the dark, ominous clouds up above. It's a beautiful scene and composition with the clouds and some of the foliage and all reflecting in this peaceful portion of the river. I like the bend, the river bend, that's well positioned, well framed, and the lush greenery. This was a bunch of different aspects to it, but the ominous clouds, the lush greenery, the composition, and that bend in the river kind of all added up to a winning image for me. Well done, very, very well done.
For me, I see this image as a calm before the storm, a photographer's dream. The photo catches my eye for the mood, the tranquil environment, dramatic colors and tones, and atmospheric perspective. I am captivated by the rich green foliage and the soft flowing of the creek. The ominous rain clouds tell of a storm, yet the landscape is peaceful. The diffused light gave the photographer the perfect moment to take this photograph. My eye is drawn into the image where there is so much to see. Beautiful bushes along the stream bed with visual texture and branches. The bottom right corner nicely frames, holding my eye from leaving so I can follow the curve with the flow of the water and wander back into the middle of the scene to see the distant tree line. Very well done.
Congratulations, Neil, and everybody else. Great images. Now we're going to move on to our next category is sign topic 2. There are 42 images, there's 4 honorable mentions and 1 winner. So moving on. Our first image is Air Force Memorial Reflected. Alan Wiggins.
Yes, this one, high impact image with the diagonal framing of the monument and the reflection, and then the 4 service members reflected as well. The sky gets a little hot and the reflectivity up there is a little bit distracting, but I don't know how to fix that instantly. That would take some work there, but the memorial aspect of it is interesting. The fact that there are people in this image is interesting to me as well. And I like the framing. I thought it was well done.
Okay, next image, Oculus Reflected, Alan Wiggins.
Oculus. The Oculus reflected makes quite an interesting photograph. At first, I thought the building was built that way. The midday light is soft and diffused by the cloud cover. The cool tones of the steel contrast well with the organic green trees. The image has balance. The composition shows a unique take on perspective. My comment is with the diagonal prop on the right of the reflection in the foreground area and the part above, which is its reflection. They are distractions. Perhaps a little more work in post could rectify that by removing them.
Okay, next one up is Old Time Bowling, Barb Lawton.
Yeah, this has the feel of old time. The muted colors and the lighting on this is wonderful. Once again, I get the thought that maybe a little more space on the left side so that one pin isn't pushed up right to the edge of the frame of this image. Give it a little bit more room. But I love the lighting on it, and wonder how many times these guys have been knocked down over the years. But it was well done. I like the beat up old box that they're contained in as well. That's an interesting aspect of it as well. But I guess the only thought I would give is if you could give it a little more room on the left side, that would balance it out a little bit better. But it was a good find again.
Okay, next up is Want to Buy an Old Rug, Barb Lawton.
Okay, want to buy an old rug. This is an interesting couple selling rugs, even though they are just mannequins in an antique store. It's a great vintage feel and the colors are very eye-catching. I know what she is selling. The subject and her reason for being there is obvious. The light is good for an indoor photo. The point of view has a nice diagonal, drawing me into the scene, definitely fitting the category.
Next up is In the Wind, Claudia Jakubowski.
Yes, this one has got a lot of action going on. The slow shutter capturing these, I don't know what they are, if it's a swing of some sort or a mobile of some sort. It conveys the action. I like the diagonal aspect of it as well. The slow shutter is also capturing motion and blur associated with the background foliage as well. So it's a good creative example of using those slow shutter speeds to convey some action and some movement in what otherwise would be kind of a static image if it were at a high shutter. So it was a well executed example of the slow shutter speed technique.
Okay, next up is Red Light, Claudia Jakubowski.
Car parts. Red light. The red vehicle taillights is eye-popping and has my attention. Details in the lens, complemented by the cool, smooth tone of the metal on the right, makes this a minimalistic shot. You captured the essence of what you saw before clicking the shutter. The image has sharp focus and it's well composed and balanced.
Okay, next up is Cutaway Corvette, Dan Steen.
Yeah, this is the business end of car parts here in the Corvette, and I like the colors associated with this image as well. The brass pieces along the center diagonal, the orange on the right side, and then the blue casings or whatever along the caps and so on the left. I like the lines, the metal tubes and lines that come in from the top portion of the picture. It's a good composition of an interesting subject for the car parts category, and the color balance and color contrast adds to it as well. This is a fine example of a close-up of the car parts of interest.
Okay, next up is Old Campaign Buttons, number 1, Dan Steen.
Old campaign buttons. The perspective in this image is that of a flat lay or a top-down style. I see a lot of history in these old campaign buttons. A patriotic photo of time gone by is a great story. Some of the colors are faded and some brighter. Amazing how time passes by. I like the organization of the buttons, the nostalgic feel. The image is in sharp focus and the light is just right so not to overpower the subjects.
Next up is 1938 Morgan F. Ford Trike Lime Rock Park Historic Festival 2021. Dow needs longer titles.
Okay, well, this is the slow shutter speed being used to illustrate the speed of the race car here with the panning technique, and it's well done. The subject of the driver in the green car is sharp, and then the motion is implied by the blur in the background. To me, the blur is enough that the upper, say, third of the picture doesn't add much but distraction. The white car and the blue object up there and some other things that are blurred as well. So maybe with a panoramic type of framing, this would keep the attention to the main subject in the lower 2/3 of the image. But well done panning. That's not easy to accomplish, and the fact that he's zooming away is another factor. So there's a little bit of additional motion, and he's a little bit past where the photographer was, but that's not a criticism by any means. That's just another aspect to the motion in this photo.
Okay, next up is working on a 1932 Bugatti 59.
Okay, number 6. Bugatti. Okay. This man must have great skill and knowledge to work on a 1932 Bugatti, a true classic car. First thing I noticed is the red wristband and the pliers. The photo has perfect vignette. It's felt but not seen. The engine is in sharp focus and clean as a whistle. The colors are true in hue and tone to what I would expect to see if I was there. The composition is well composed.
Next up is, I'm sorry, I lost my place here, is Dial the Past, Lena Kesey.
Yes, hold everything here. I think that's a telephone, if I remember from my days in Schenectady. Yeah, and the photograph is someone's memories of someone near the phone. I like the little flowers distributed. I guess there's 3 of them matching up to her jewelry right at her neckline on her dress. So the flowers and the repetition in the jewelry is an interesting aspect. I don't mind the spots, save for the real bright white ones. Okay, the ones at the lower left near 6, 7 on the rotary dial, they're muted, and even the yellower one at the base is okay, but the ones that are centered with white aspects, they are a bit of a distraction. I like the softness of the image, the fact that it seems like a memory. There's a lot of good aspects to this, and there's story to be understood there too. But the couple of extra white hot spots are a small bit of a distraction, but overall quite well done. Once again, I'll say if you could frame a little more to the top so that the entire telephone is within the frame, that would balance it out again a little bit better. That's a little picky thing, but beyond that, it's very well done.
Next up is Somewhere in Space, Elena Kesey.
Slow shutter. Somewhere in space. Somewhere in space, slow shutter. No, there it is. Okay. This is a captivating abstract of lines in a sphere. The colors are vibrant and mesmerizing. The lines have a diagonal path that leads me through the photo, and the black background helps make the colors pop.
Okay. Next up is Boardwalk, Janice Pritchett.
Yes, this one is a path leading to somewhere. It's I suspect it goes out to a beachfront of some sort. I kind of wonder. I see some figures in the very back, probably near where the destination is. So I'm looking at the subject to be perhaps the people in the back. I'm just a little bit. This just lacks a kind of a center point, a resting place, if you will, for the composition. The boardwalk goes kind of straight back into the image. A little bit of a diagonal framing would have helped with the story a bit, I suspect. But overall, just a good record of On the Way to the Beach, I suspect. Very nice.
Next up is Teamwork, Janice Pritchett.
Teamwork. An inside point of view into a hot air balloon is a unique position. I prefer this viewpoint. It helps me to know the people are there, but removes the details about them by only showing their shadow. The image is simplified this way. The colors are soft and I see lots of geometric shapes.
Okay, next up is I Would Rather Walk with a Friend in the Dark Than Alone in the Light, Jana Kaywood.
Yes. The friends meeting at the time of sunset, and there's just this personal eye-to-eye contact that goes on in this. The sun is right centered, so that's a good place for it, that rather than behind one or the other's head. It looks like they're standing on ice, or maybe it's just the wet shoreline, but a lot of impact because of the the pose, the face-to-face pose. This is well done as well.
Next up is Magical Dance of the Petals, Shauna Kaywood.
Oh, yeah.
Color. Magical Dance of the Petals, a pretty flat lay in high key style. The flowers are carefully arranged in a bouquet fashion. The strong colors on top using a tetrad color palette of orange, green, purple, and blue. The image has a nice balance and the composition is organized. I like seeing high key photos, and not very many people do them, but I really do like seeing them come about more often.
Okay, next up is Boy Hugs, Joan Heffler.
Oh, this one I first look, I said, ah, how cute, right? They're brothers, or maybe they're friends. This is the friendship category, and they don't have the same colored hair, so maybe they're good friends. I guess they're looking at a book, a photo album or something there, but they're so relaxed and clearly good friends. This just made an instant impact. Again, we're looking from the side, so you don't see the eyes of either of the children there, but they're absorbed in their own little viewing of photographs or whatever it is they're doing as well. But it's a very nice, cute image as well.
Next up is Old Shaker Door, Joan Heffler. I like that. Ooh,
Old shaker door.
Oh, there it is.
Old shaker door. Wow, I love the peeling paint on this one. The doors and walls have lots of texture when perfect subjects for monochrome format. The soft sepia tone also works really well with this image. The details hold my attention on the doors. I especially like to see the cool patterns in the paint peels on the left-hand side of the wall. Classic photo style and a straight on camera perspective, not exactly different or unusual as the category defines this topic.
Okay, next up is Dandelion Puff, Joe Catronio.
Yeah, this one is another of the unique perspective photos. It's well balanced. The seed end of the dandelion are arranged as nature would have it, but with so many of them missing, you get this arced view of the a portion of it. So it is an interesting perspective, kind of the half version of the dandelion, and the depth of field is adequate. It'd be a different photo if there was more sharpness in the seed flyers that are a little more distant from where the camera is. But this is a good macro, good composition. I love this, the blue sky with it as well. That adds to it. So this is an interesting perspective of the dandelion seed head.
Next up is Praying Mantis, Joe Catronio.
Animals. Praying mantis. Lovely to see one of these insects close up. The face has interesting details, color, and line. The compound eyes have three-dimensional vision similar to humans, I have heard. The strong mandibles or jaws are in sharp focus. I like that I can see the tiny hairs. The warm colors in the photo complement the insect or hide it well, and no distractions in the background. As best I can tell, these are animals, so they do fit in the category.
Next up is A Moment Between Friends, Kim Koza.
Yes, for this one, the sky is what drew me first. The near silhouettes of the individuals, they are showing the friendship, but not in an eye-to-eye contact way. So there's a little bit of a different dynamic there. The fireplace is, or the campfire is an additional aspect to this that I like, kind of in balance with the setting sun up above. And it's a near silhouette, but it's in that intermediate exposure zone. So all in all, the friendship aspect is, to me, not completely reflected in the way the individuals are standing in relation to one another, but the moment must have been a special one as well. So I like it overall. The sky is fantastic.
Okay, next up is Besties, Kim Koza.
Besties. It's great background. Love the sky. I can see why the children might be on the dock. Love the motion in the clouds and the red and yellow of the sunset. I see the calm water giving the scene a peaceful mood. The children are well placed in the image. Only distraction is something on the right side of the dock keeps pulling my eye away. I don't mind the rail, the steps for getting down off the dock, because that goes along with where they're standing, but the little something on the other side of the dock is a little distracting.
Next up is Camaro, Linda Tomasula.
Yes. This is a black and white, I believe, showing perhaps the gas tank cover for the Camaro. So it's a straightforward image, positioning that as far as car parts, it isn't the most interesting car part if that's the gas tank cover, or maybe it's just an emblem, I'm not sure. But in contrast to the one with the Corvette engine, this is much more simple, direct image of the car logo as such. But it's well done, it's well exposed. I like the slight gradation in the upper right corner, diagonal off to the upper left corner. That helps the image as well. So this is the Camaro car part, I guess.
Next up is Table for Two, Linda Tomasula.
Table for two. This is an overhead shot looking down on a couple in a still life or flat lay type of style. The colors are balanced and warm browns and cool blues. The angle is curious. I am looking for a way to make sense of the pattern on the floor to the couple at the table, but I'm not quite finding it. With people in the picture, I would prefer to see their eyes or their faces, and I find the busy floor pattern distracting.
Okay, next up is Elk Resting After Outrunning a Wolf, Nancy Jones.
Oh, I think I saw a silhouette of these guys a little while ago. Maybe not, maybe a different herd. But this is showing a lot of strength and action. So these guys are now apparently just up on the ridge, awaiting their next adventure. I like seeing all of them. Again, the separation is the issue with the wildlife. The one on the left is kind of walking away, not really seeming to be concerned with the 5 on the right. So maybe he doesn't belong. The one on the second one looking well framed and positioned. Number 3 in the back is kind of merged in with 2 others, so that's a little bit tough. This is it's tough getting animals to behave themselves and look the way you want them to, but this is a good nature story showing these animals as survivors. So I appreciate the work the photographer put into capturing the image of the elks here.
Okay, next up is Akenic Bridge from the Ferry, Nancy Jones.
Bridge from the- This is an amazing expanse of a bridge. There's lots of geometry in the construction of the bridge, triangles and lines. The colors are similar to a split complementary combination, the blue, green, and yellow, orange. I do notice the bridge tower is not straight and the blue sky appears a bit oversaturated. But this could be corrected. The straightening of the bridge could be corrected in post.
Okay, next up is Fender Skirt, Phil Olivo.
This is another of the car parts in white. And fender skirt, again, probably not the main subject of car parts, but they don't make them like that anymore. So that's a good historical reference here for that car part. I like how the white wall tire kind of completes the rest of the image, and then the red and yellow in the detail work of the tire. This is well done. The exposure's kind of on the money. There's that little hot area of grass at the very left center that maybe a slightly different camera angle might have avoided, but that's the only picky little detail that I can see on that. But when I first saw this, I said, yeah, they don't make them like that anymore. So that's a good image of that historical car part.
Next up is a 1952 Chevy Club Coupe, Rich Schreibstein.
Oh, this one's under color. This is a fun story, kind of street photography style. I love the expression of the woman on the sidewalk and the man in the car. It's a beautiful car in mint condition, lots of color in the scene, orange, reds, greens, with intensity and color value works well between them. The mood is casual and the light is diffused.
Okay, next up is Attached Garage, Rich Schreibstein.
Yes, this is a subject for the color, taking the red brick of the main buildings there, and then the attached garage featuring this olive green door. The other little aspect of color in this was the recycle bin, the little blue plastic piece there. Seems a little out of place from the main, just because those other structures are old and more natural than blue polyethylene plastic. I like the addition of the dog walker in this photo. Doesn't truly add to the color aspect of the image, but it adds to the interest of the image overall. And the strong lighting and strong shadows are just part of the daylight exposure that the photographer had to deal with. So overall, it's well captured. I like how the shadows are kind of portrayed on the old brick building above the garage too.
Okay, next up is Breakfast, Robert Neer.
Breakfast.
Yes.
A lovely reflection of the bird with the day's catch in its bill. I love the splashes showing motion. The reflection is recognizable. The ripples in the water add texture, and a beautiful diffused light brings out the true nature colors of the bird. The frame does add a feeling of completeness to the image, but in a competition, it can sometimes be discouraged.
Next up is Cosmos, Robert Neer.
Oh, this one for color, that it jumped at me, the complementary, the purple and the yellow. And it's sharp where it needs to be at the center. And it looks like it just fades off a bit as the edges of the flower are seen. So it's striking, and it's very well centered. The square format is suitable for a subject like this. And I like the third color element, the green, perhaps foliage that's all out of focus, but it adds another third layer of the color patterns here, the yellow into the white, purple into the green. So this is well done.
Next up is Two Birds and a Chipmunk, Ronald Spear.
Mhm. This was cute. Drinking buddies at the bird bath. Cute story. Colors are natural and analogous, except for the squirrel, which makes it stand out. The hosta leaves make a great background. The bath blends right into the color. The photo has good composition and the bird bath has good placement in the frame. The squirrel is in soft focus, but this should be able to be adjusted in post-processing with a little extra sharpening. Since he is the subject, he should be a little bit sharper.
Next up is Let Sleeping Dogs Lie, Sean Sullivan.
Yeah, this one made me chuckle when I first saw it. These guys are just conked out. I like that their tongues are allowing them to, I guess that helps with breathing in those positions or whatever, but it looked good. They look comfortable. They look like they were out for the count there. Soft, right? You could just feel the fur and their it's well reflected in the image. It's got some kind of a contrasty aspect to it that's maybe a bit on the overdone side for my taste, but all in all, I thought the sleeping dogs were they look wonderful.
Next up is Shiny Thing in Orange, Sean Sullivan.
Her parts. Shiny thing in orange. The subject appears to be a gas cap, though the logo is not recognizable to me. The subject is simple, minimalistic, clear, and clear of distractions. The orange color is warm in tone. The centered composition presents the subject front and center. I would like to see a little more even light to illuminate the subject a little bit more. The chrome part of the cap does seem to have a grayish tint to it, so a little brightness to that area would kind of help illuminate it a bit more.
And next up is This Tastes Good, Sharon Silversmith.
Yeah, this another of the animal feeding here. This is what they do, but I like the bulk, the massiveness of this workhorse, and the hay pile is just what he needs there. It seems a little bit soft and focused down near the eye, which is kind of the center point for it. But all in all, it's a good portrait of this sturdy workhorse. I liked it.
Next up is Ivy and Friends, Thomas Whitmore.
Ivy. Ivy looks like a draft horse, a gentle giant with a soft, kind eye. It's a cute story. The gal is so small in comparison to Ivy, yet the horse is calm and not at all intimidating. The colors of the stall are rich, warm, golden tone, and the lighting is perfect to capture details in the two subjects. The photo is in sharp focus as well.
Next one is Scott by Thomas Whitmore.
Let's see. Yes, this one, I did not see the animal subject first. I saw the window first. So I was a little confused, and then we're looking at the an unusual perspective of the horse. I'm probably more interested to go outside the barn and see his head and his eyes and the full face of the horse. So this one was a different perspective than I had seen. I liked the haircut on his mane. I liked the framing of the window and the barn wood as well. So a different view of another of the workhorse family.
Okay, honorable mentions. First up, Vermont Geometry, Neil Shapiro.
This bridge is gorgeous. I am impressed with the point of view from the lens to capture the interior of this bridge. The structure is well balanced in the frame, and the bridge has beautiful warm tones, impressive curved wooden supports, and the plank road which leads my eye down a vanishing point to the hillside below or beyond. The surrounding forest area with the blue cloud-filled sky are a perfect complement to completing the photo. I think it was done very well.
The next honorable mention is Taillight, Phil Olivo.
Yes, from the category of color, this kind of met the standard in very well here with the again, a very simple circular composition, but here the different paint jobs that have occurred around this tail light really add to it. The yellow, the blue, the green, and the aspect that kind of got my attention as well is the matching red in the upper reaches, you know, the outskirts of this tail light. So a very simple position point of view, but a lot of good color action going on, and it's just very well done, very well seen, and it deserved the honorable mention in our view.
Mhm.
And next up, honorable mentions, Tortoise in Her Nest, Ronald Spear.
Excellent capture. You caught her covering her eggs. I find this a fascinating thing to see. Quite an interesting tortoise with lots of detail on her skin and her shell. Their big brown eye intent on what she is doing. The area is natural to where I would expect to find her. The photograph documents the story of her life, and the light is diffused, and I am amazed by the details.
And our last honorable mention is BFF, Sharon Silversmith.
Yes, this was the friendship category. Such a natural image of the two women at the bench, and the true connection they have, the high five matched up, and then their face-to-face contact. It just brought the friendship theme to life in a very natural and casual. I don't know these people, but I'm sure they value their friendship, and they're just very a nice moment, well captured.
And our winning image for sign topic 2 for the projected image of the year is Tranquility Base, Neil Shapiro.
This is an absolutely stunning and gorgeous black and white waterfall. Perfect use of slow shutter. This is stunning with an incredible detail in the rock and beautiful flowing water cascading down several of those ledges and rocks. The light is soft and subtle, illuminating the area ever so softly. Lots of texture and organic shapes. The shadow areas show the right amount of detail in every nook, crevice. I wish I had taken this photograph personally. Congratulations, it's an excellent photograph.
Congratulations, Neil, and everybody else. Thank you to our judges.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Stop sharing here. Here we go. Anybody have any questions or comments for our judges? Anybody?
No, I appreciated the commentary very much. I know it was a bit confusing and it's a very difficult challenge doing this competition because of the assigned topics and fitting the topic and judging the image. So I really appreciate what you've done.
We
Thank
made
you.
it, we got through it.
And Neil, we're handicapping you next year.
I want to thank the judges. Yes, you did an excellent job, and I was very, very honored to win them. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, if there was nothing else, we'll see everybody next week for the general and monochrome projected image of the year competition. So we'll say good night to everybody and have a good night.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night, everybody.
Goodbye.